I'm very glad to hear the Philadelphia corridor is under operational control. I don't know when, if ever, Israel will relinquish that. Do you agree with me?
No, they can't. Well, they can't. It's essential to the whole thing. They found 20 tunnels. Is probably 40 more that we don't know about yet. Where did every bullet, every RPG, every rocket come from? Came from under that border, and that has to be sealed hermetically.
Can you build a moat? That's what you need is a moat.
Well, on the other side of the border, we sunk a metal sheet that's 30 meters deep into the ground. It cost $1 billion to do that, thinking that would save us from Hamas. We didn't think they were going to come across the border in hang gliders and motorcycles. But certainly it's a good anti-tunnel protection. We didn't have tunnels going into Israel along our border. So we have to sink, we got to sink not a moat, you sink a metal sheet beneath the ground. And even that's not tunnel proof. We just have to keep on looking for those tunnels all the time. We have anti-tunnel detection technology that has proven very effective. You hope for the best. That's the least of our problems right now. I've been on the news for the last 48 hours how the American press, the world press, has headlined Israel's vicious attack on this refugee camp, as if we intentionally attacked this camp to kill Palestinian civilians. The Guardian, believe it or not, had an article yesterday claiming that we dropped 22,000-pound bombs on this camp. Okay, we are dealing with an alternative reality. And
Dr. Oren,
extraordinary.
I'm of the opinion that nobody's opinion of Israel is changed by any headline. That the people that hate Israel will always hate Israel, and the people who love Israel will always love Israel. Don't worry about the headlines because they're written by kids who don't know anything. I mean, do people in Israel understand that it doesn't matter how incoherent Tony Blinken is, America's with Israel? Do they get it?
Not always. Not always. And it's very frustrating. I mean, I had to go on the news yesterday and actually show that the two very small bombs, actually the smallest bombs in the Israeli Air Force's arsenal used to take out these two Hamas commanders, exploded 200 yards from this camp. 200 yards. No one ever reported this. 200 yards from the camp. How does that result in the entire camp going up in flames? And clearly, there was ammunition beneath this camp. How that ammunition went off is another problem.
I honestly don't think it makes a lick of difference in the world public opinion, even though the anti-Israel media loves to jump on it. What I do think would help Israel is what I saw yesterday, a realistic timeline. I saw yesterday an unidentified Israeli official said 7 more months minimum. And I think that's what the world needs to hear. It's going to take 7 months to destroy the tunnels and eradicate Hamas. Do you agree with being realistic on the timeline?
I think the timeline was optimistic, to tell you the truth. I think it's very important to say that. It's also important to say that not just to the world. It's important to say that to Israelis. We're going to be honest with our own people, what we're dealing with here.
All right,
the need to us has to destroy the main body of Hamas, so that then we can focus our major military effort on the north, because that's an utterly intolerable situation and a strategic threat to the state.
Well, a cruise missile came from Iraq today. My eyebrows went up, and I thought, oh, my God, the Iranians are giving their militias cruise missiles. Is that what you thought?
Of course. I didn't think that, but it's like, of course they have.
Wow.
And any scenario is going to involve missiles, in a regional war. It's going to involve missiles from Iraq, missiles from Syria, missiles from Yemen.
Now, Michael, you talk to people in the government. I would really wish that they would put out more details to the extent that operational security is not compromised on the battle for Rafah, because I don't know what's going on. I want them to be in there full-fledged. I want them to take the city and reduce Hamas. Is there a large contingent in Rafah now? I know there are tanks downtown, but are they going to take the whole city?
Eventually, they're going to take the whole city. They're just going to do it in piecemeal. They're trying to stay on the right side of the Biden administration. This is why the Biden administration's reaction to the conflagration in that camp was muted, because the administration asked us to do two things. One was to use precision-guided bombs and very precise guns, and the other was to not launch a whole-scale incursion into Rafah. So Israel did both, and that's why the reaction was what it was. But eventually you're going to have to move throughout the entire Rafah region, just like you're going to have to take the entire Philadelphia route. There's no alternative. By the way,
But
they're
they
gonna have to go
moved a
into the
million
Somalia refugee
people,
camp.
at least a million people out of Rafah, right?
Yeah, wouldn't it be great if someone asked the Egyptians to move these people exactly 100 yards to the other side of the Philadelphia route? Wouldn't it be great? I know that's an out-of-the-box idea that people.
I know that Egypt. I don't
I
understand
know.
why we're so easy on Egypt either. It's not like they're selling us oil that we've got to have. Any explanation there?
Yeah, it's the power of the weak. It's the card that the Palestinians play all the time. If you pressure us too much, we'll collapse. And what the Egyptians are saying, if you pressure us too much, we'll collapse. And you're going to get the Muslim Brotherhood. You don't want the Muslim Brotherhood here, which maybe is saying something in the favor of the Biden administration, because the Obama administration wanted the Muslim Brotherhood there.